I'm continuing to learn valuable lessons about living in cold climate. Just because it gets to be 40 degrees for a week and it even touches 50 degrees does not in any way apparently mean that winter is over. And boy, did I make a huge mistake. Let me show you what happened. Now, as I'm going out, I'll show you, this is also new to me, of how much the cold weather will absolutely destroy your batteries. And I have a lot of cars, and it looks like this spring I'm going to be buying some new batteries, and I'm going to make the guys down at Napa Auto Parts very happy with me, because I've got about 6 batteries in vehicles. At this point, it looks like I've got to replace them. But let me show you what's going on in the barn. Now, I thought by now, converting my barn into my new studio workshop, I'd be building some cool stuff and we'd be on to some more fun content about restarting my career and my business up here in North Idaho and, you know, the whole country living thing. But I have a bit of a setback. Now, for the last few weeks, I've been working on the electrical. I finally got lighting in on both sides of the barn. I have taken the electrical on myself, which was a brand new experience for me. You know, it wasn't that bad. Luckily, I've got a neighbor who's very handy, kind of a do-it-himself guy, and he came over and gave me a couple pointers of how to not electrocute myself and just things to do right to ensure that it was going to be safe operation. And so I ran all the conduit myself, pulled the cable, went out, bought breakers, and I was really excited that it was, you know, all working and things were going great. And last week, I spent the week getting these lasers dialed in. It's a big thing with alignment and focusing these things and getting them leveled out and getting them all cleaned up, because one of them had been in storage for 1.5 years. The other one had made the 1,100-mile trip about, I don't know, 3 months ago. And then we had another one stored in the garage. So I think I showed on one of the past videos, you know, moving them in and getting them set up. And I put the laser tubes in them. I hooked up the chillers. I ran the ventilation. I put the big blower motors on the other side of the barn. I really took my time to do it right, and things were this close to being ready to go, and I screwed up big time. See, I got cocky with that warm weather, and I thought, well, you know, we can get going now. I can go ahead and set the laser tubes up and fill the chillers with water, because I think we're past the worst of winter. And I was very wrong about that. Now, I wasn't wrong about probably the worst of winter being over, but the freezing cold temperatures made an appearance last week. It got down to 15 degrees down here at the barn, 17 degrees up at the house. And this is the result of having water in your water-cooled laser tubes overnight. It shattered both of the CO2 tubes in both my lasers. That was a $3,000 mistake. And the part that I'm kicking myself for is I was checking the app, you know, the weather app, and it had said that it was a winter warning. It was going to get down to the teens. And I was thinking, well, I should probably go down there and at least turn a heater on or maybe drain the water out of the laser tubes. But I got lazy. I didn't want to go out in the cold. I didn't want to bundle up and put socks on and put boots back on. And I thought, I'm sure they'll be okay for one night. How cold, you know, can it really get in the barn? And part of the thing that I was thinking was the water drains out of the laser tubes when the chillers aren't on. But I wasn't thinking that I had taken the chillers and put them up off of a shelf, which means the water's being stored above them. So there's no way for the water to drain out of the tube and go down to the ground the way I used to keep them when I had these down in Southern California. I could keep the chillers right on the ground. But here I didn't want them on the ground because of the cold concrete, so I moved them up so I could put a space heater under them. And my laziness to come down and not turn on that space heater or throw a blanket over these to some way protect them cost me $3,000. So I'm waiting on a new laser tube for this one. Luckily for this one, I had a backup laser tube. When I bought these 2 lasers, I bought an extra tube because we were running thousands and thousands of acrylic parts, and I never wanted to have my production line get interrupted. So a really boneheaded move on my part, but lesson learned. And now I've gone ahead and I've put in some infrared heaters. I'm putting in 2 more back here. And I'm going to look at insulating this back wall and actually enclosing all 3 of these lasers that I've got this summer. So right now I think what we're gonna do is put a valve on there so I can drain the water out at nighttime and still heat them up, because I don't wanna freeze the chillers out. I don't even know if those are damaged or not, but my concern is that it may have damaged the water pumps. But I'm gonna be checking those today, well, at least one of them. I'll get the one laser back up and running. Then I'm gonna put a valve on it so I can drain the water out of them when I'm closing up for the day. Until we get that insulated and enclosed, I'm just gonna have to take those extra steps. But it's definitely a huge step backwards, because I had planned on this whole area being kind of done and functional, and I could start reaching out to some friends and to some clients to at least get some laser engraving, laser cutting work going in here, just to get something rolling. You know, work begets work was sort of my philosophy on this. And then my wife was gonna hit the craft fair, and she still is gonna hit the craft fair scene this coming spring and summer. And we've got some really neat original stuff that we're gonna be doing. And you know, we're very hopeful that they will be received well and do well in sales with us. And that's a little bit of what we're gonna be covering here in the weeks to come on this channel. I've got so many things to do on the channel. We've got a huge project up at the house. Obviously, we've got to finish out the barn. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll get the machine shop starting to get put in. We'll get the new CNC router delivered, and we're looking at getting a laser welder. So lots of big plans for the immediate future. Thank you to the 18 or so folks who've subscribed to the channel. I'm gonna work on getting here more often with videos. I'll tell you that the temperature and the weather and sort of dealing with my first real winter was a bit of a shocker, so it took me a little bit off guard. And I spent a lot of time just sitting upstairs at the house, staying inside, not doing much, and that wouldn't have been very good content. But now things are underway, and now that the barn's somewhat functional, I hope to be back next week with another video. Thanks everybody for checking out the channel. And that's it. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for checking it out. Bye.